Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 9th Business Board meeting of the Board of School Directors. We've got a full crowd here, so it's very exciting. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. McGinley.
Good evening, welcome. Our first presentation this evening is being made by Representative Briggs, and we'll welcome him to recognize the winners of their Ought to Be a Law essay contest. Representative Briggs, good to see you.
Thank you very much, Dr. McGinley. And I want to thank the school board for allowing me to be first on the agenda. That's a special treat for me, but also to allow us to honor and pay tribute to some great students in your community. 5 years ago, I set out to start There Ought to Be a Law contest. It actually worked out around the same time I got elected, so it was good. If I wasn't in office, it might not have been as good of a contest. But I talked to a lot of teachers I knew about trying to excite the youth. My kids at the time were in second and fourth grade, and it was right after the big primary between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. So I was trying to come up with an idea to interest kids into participating in the political process in government, and a lot of people were telling me I should focus on high school kids because those are the ones that had all the great ideas. After a lot of talking to my wife, who's actually here, we came up with an idea to do a fifth grade essay contest to come up with There Ought to Be a Law. Lower Merion was right on board, as all the schools in the district, to participate. It's been a great project. It's grown. We were around over 500 students have participated in this year, and I want to thank the district and all the teachers for participating. The process, the selection process is pretty challenging. It's my staff and I get to read all 500 essays, and we narrow it down to around the first 100 or so. We pull it down. Then I take them home, and my wife and I read them for a second time, and then we keep reading them until we get closer and closer to a winner. We stop at around a dozen. We take a week off, and then we kind of tackle it again. And it's actually been it's been great. Every year we come up with a couple ideas that should be a law, and one of these days we'll get one passed. Maybe not with this administration or legislature. But right now I'm going to invite each child up. I'm going to give a quick summary. If they could stay up here and then ask President Gilbert to take a picture with us and Dr. McGinley, and then we'll move on. I think I met most of the kids. I'm not sure if they're all here, so I'm going to say the school and the name, and then I'll mention the line. As you hear your name, come on up. Is Nistar Steinerman, who's actually at Torah Academy. She wrote an essay requiring environmental education for all elementary students. I actually met her a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if she's here. If she is, come on up. Mima Cohn, also with Kathy Marshall's class at Torah, regarding requiring all restaurants to display a calorie count for each dish they serve. Great. I was at Mima's class a couple weeks ago. Ryan Lynch at Penn Wynn, if Ryan can come up. Regarding supermarkets and buffet-style restaurants to donate their leftovers to nearby shelters and soup kitchens, which was a great idea. Sage Rashkoff, who's here, was regarding prohibiting all plastic water bottles. Thank you. Sydney Lavin, also at Gladwin Elementary, requiring a law that would replace standardized testing in schools with educational projects. Ben Kozlov, also at Gladwin, regarding, we've been trying this, and we're getting close, actually, today. We had a good day. A law that would require background checks and shooting tests for individuals seeking concealed weapon permits. Thank you. From Gladwin Elementary, also Adam Greenfield, and his law was requiring additional recess time for students. And Bernard Cummings, BJ, who I saw around a month ago at Waldron Mercy, had an idea regarding the minimum wage, increasing it to $13 an hour. Thank you. So if we could do a group picture real quick, this project has excited me every time I do it. It shows that the ideas that are coming from a fifth grader are definitely things that would make our community, our school, and our state a better place. If we could get more common sense from these guys up in Harrisburg, I'm sure we could do even a better job than we're trying to do up there now. So I want to thank the school district for participating in all the schools and all the kids. And we're going to pose, and I have one more thing after that. So. Yeah, let's get a little bit closer. Hey, Kath, who's our designated photographer.
It might be easier if everyone just kind of comes up in front in a circular area.
And then like we both have to be in the back.
So I know I'm taking over your meeting, but when I told Representatives D'Alessio and Representative Mary Jo Daley that I was coming to tonight's meeting, they wanted me to present Dr. McGinley a citation from the House of Representatives for his service to the district. We were told that this was going to be your last meeting, yes. And you can have the envelope too. Thank you. I know it's not a retirement officially. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And we realize that many people still have homework to do and other things, and we will take it as a sign
I
of.
don't think he's not done.
Oh, you're not done?
Well,
I thought you were
Ms.
done.
Steinerman arrived, and I was hoping just to read
Oh,
off her
okay.
essay. It was regarding requiring environmental education for elementary schools. So I just,
Great. We got a picture? Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. Congratulations to all the award winners, and Representative Briggs, thank you for my recognition, but more importantly, thanks for the recognition of the students, and thanks for prompting them to imagine how we could make things even better in Pennsylvania. Thank you very much. This evening, we are also congratulating some of our state champions, and with us this evening, we have Dr. Catherine Rowe, who's the coach of the Ultimate Frisbee team, and the girls' team came in first place for the second year in a row, and so we want you to please come forward and recognize the team members.
Thank you, Dr. McGinley. Thank you to the board. It's really a thrill to be here. I should say this is our 4th championship in 6 years. So I have a few thanks to give, and then I'm going to ask the girls up, and then I'm going to tell you 2 things about Ultimate that you need to know as a school board, okay? The first thanks are due to Christina Minetti, who founded this program about a decade ago and who has really been the center of gravity for both the boys and the girls teams for a very long time. And to my co-coach for the girls team, Liz Gray, who could not be here tonight, and I hope that you will meet her for many years to come. She's really remarkable. Thanks are also due to Don Walsh, who gets us the buses and fields that we clamor for constantly. And without them, we couldn't practice. Without that practice, we couldn't learn. And without the learning that we do, we wouldn't have these championships. Thanks are also due to the parents. There's a lot of them in this room who have been my partners over these 8 years since we founded the girls team, who understand that the Frisbee field is a classroom. I am a teacher first and a coach as a teacher. And our goal, our philosophy on this team is to play the season to learn. When we play the season to learn, we find out that we can play the championships to win. And the final thanks goes to the players who have accepted that strange philosophy with a lot of commitment and brought their intelligence and sweat to that commitment year after year. I want to ask them up here by name. Dina Bahar. Thank you. Okay, go Coffers. So let me ask the captains and the president, Lily Eisner and Eleanor Abbott and Nancy Wu. Please come on up. And then I'm just going to work down the row here, the seniors, Alyssa Clausen, Jr., Brett Rapkin-Citronbaum, and Izzy Thornton, sophomore Margot Erheim, senior Mandy Farah, junior Mel Friedel, sophomore Sophie Bennett. Have I gotten everybody? I can't quite see around the corner. Okay, and Dina Bahar, who'll come in a moment. So there's two things you need to know about Ultimate that are really important. One is that it's a self-refereed sport. Even at the elite levels, players make their own calls, and they adjudicate those calls. And for girls playing and for women playing, this is an unusual and really significant quality to the sport. It means that at the most competitive level, and we ran the tables 8-0 at states this year, as we did last year. At the most competitive level, a player makes a call and 14 players stop and acknowledge her authority in the midst of that competition and adjudicate that call. You can think about what that means for a 14, 15, or 16 or 17-year-old girl at this time in their development as a human being, to balance that kind of ethical commitment to fairness with their drive to be and their ambition to compete. I'm proud that we won, and I'm also really proud that we took third in the Spirit Awards, which is an award that the other teams give, ranking players on their fairness over the course of the tournament. So that's pretty significant to win and to rank that highly in the spirit of sportsmanship. I'm really proud of that, ladies. The second thing that's unique about Ultimate is that this is a second chance sport. We have some of the most elite athletes of Lower Merion on this team. Players on this team have gone on to be recruited to the U.S. National Worlds team and are playing in Europe this summer. We also have players who have never played a team sport before and have never had the self-identity of an athlete, and developed that with this team and played in the championship series this year. So freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors playing in the championship game. That's something that you need to think about when you're fostering whole human beings as a school board. So if you give this sport the support that it needs over the next 3 years, you're going to get at least 3 more championships from this team.
Maybe 2 rows. Alternating spaces. It just alternates faster. That's good. Okay, looking here. I'm gonna do a couple. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Thanks very much. Good job.
And next, we are welcoming Mr. Hughes, Principal, Lower Merion High School. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. We have the TSA champions, right? I'm sorry, I left my...
Thank you very much. So we're from the Technology Student Association, or TSA. We want to say, first of all, thank you very much to the school district for your support for sending us this state tournament. It was 3 grueling days of competition, but you made it better by sending us to Seven Springs Resort for those 3 grueling days. So we appreciate it very much. And we have 3 fine 10th grade young ladies that won in website design. So they had to independently collaborate to craft the code for the website, the language on the website, and an appealing design that all led them to win first in the state of Pennsylvania in website design. So we have 3 10th graders. We're going to call up Vivian Klotz, Isha Verma, and Olivia Johnston. We would also love a picture with you as well. I just want to point out that 2 of these young ladies will be taking charge of the club. They'll be taking the reins from Mandy, who's sitting over here next year. Unfortunately, we are losing Isha to Harriton, but Vivian and Olivia will be officers of the club next year. Thanks.
Okay, and we wanted to also thank Mr. McCluskey, Ryan McCluskey, who's the coach. I didn't say his name because I left the paper at the table. I apologize. Okay, now, do we have any other championships in the room that we need to make sure that we acknowledge? Okay. All right, next is Mr. Hughes, and he's going to tell us what's going on at Lower Merion these days and talk about the beautiful art display that is out in the lobby.
Can I talk about other things too? Yes. Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. Happy Monday to all of you. And thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak a little bit about Lower Merion High School. Being displayed on the monitors is a PowerPoint picture display of a variety of photos of our seniors throughout the year. It's part of our senior slideshow for tomorrow, and in it you'll see pictures of our students at many events or programs, some of which I will highlight from this past school year in a few moments. So let me first make reference to all the art displays in the administration building. Hopefully some of you were able to come out to see our art music festival about a month ago, and some of the stuff that we had on display there is what's now in the building. The work being displayed is before and after assignments to show our students and how they've grown through a course from teacher feedback and student practice. You know, Lower Merion High School's art department has a proud tradition of giving our students a firm foundation in the visual arts, which allows them to go forward in their chosen fields prepared for the challenges they will face. It's using a combination of traditional media, techniques, and instruction with Socratic questioning, conceptual thinking exercises, and examination of the creative process. We give our students 21st century thinking skills that translate to every profession. We appreciate the support that the Lower Merion community gives for the arts and the understanding that arts education does create a holistic learner. In the displays, you'll see work outside from all of the art classes, from ceramics to film photo, to metal arts, to works from our Art 1, Art 2, and Art 3 courses. So I hope you enjoy the displays over the next month or so as they station there. So I'm very proud of Lower Merion High School, and I'm proud in the areas of promoting leadership as they do through public education, specifically in the areas of academics, technology, community service, building character, and promoting citizenship, keeping our traditions, and standing above the rest in athletics and activities and school spirit. So I'd like to take this opportunity just to mention some of the LM highlights based on these categories from the 2013-14 school year. Now, of course, I can go on for hours to highlight so many things this year, but instead I tried to narrow it down to just about 41 pages. I'm just kidding. All right, there is no order to these events or programs or recognitions, but they do speak to the great work of our faculty, our staff, and of course, our students, some of who you saw here tonight, and what they're doing each and every day. So when talking about academics, just some highlights, some great things this year. Or in early October, the LM Library hosted its annual new books reception in celebration of Teen Read Week. We had over 280 students and staff and faculty that were there to visit the library during the day, peruse new books, and take part in a various week of discussions on books. Some of our choir students this year went up to the Upper Marion School to audition for the PMEA District 11 Honor Choir, and I'm very proud to say that 15 Lower Marion High School students represented us at this festival, the most out of any high school. One of our 10th grade students worked with our #1 service organization, which is Build On, to film a short video that was actually submitted and accepted to a national film competition based on the topic of volunteering. Under the guidance of our social studies teacher, Ms. Susan Naples, we learned about the Paperclips project concerning diversity, prejudice, and intolerance. The program brought educators from Whitewell, Tennessee in March to speak about the Paperclips project. The project was created by middle school students from the small southeastern Tennessee city of Whitewell. They created a monument for the Holocaust victims in Nazi Germany. It started in 1998 as a simple 8th grade project on prejudice and tolerance and has evolved into a project that gained worldwide attention. At last count, over 30 million paperclips have been collected, and now Lower Marion High School is helping with their organization. This year, our advanced business classes participated in Startup Corps' Entrepreneurship Boot Camp. Our students in the class worked diligently to quickly and cheaply start a company and create revenue and profits. It was an amazing experience with real-life applications. The class participated in the end-of-the-year Startup Corps Expo at Temple University, which was held on May 14th. It's a culminating event that showcased all of the young entrepreneurs in their individual businesses. Students spent the last 3 class periods designing their space for the expo, creating, ordering business cards, posters, brochures, and trifolds, and practicing their 30-second elevator pitch for their companies. One of our very own freshmen won the Entrepreneur of the Year from our school. She created and produced homemade organic dog treats. Her company was called Happy Tails Dog Treats. Pretty unique. Teachers Katie O'Connor and Jen Sand had 11 Lower Marion High School students participate in the 10th Annual Annenberg Science Symposium at Lankenau Hospital. Lower Marion's team presented on their topic, You Want a Piece of Me, Organ Transplantation. Besides preparing a PowerPoint presentation, the students took questions on the topic from a panel of judges, created a skit portraying what a person goes through when undergoing a kidney transplant, and Lower Marion's team took home the most comprehensive assessment of a complex healthcare and societal issue awarded at the symposium. One of our seniors was recently named this year's winner of the Philadelphia Area Princeton Prize in Race Relations. She created and developed an intercultural youth council. She also was a member of our Build On group that went to Haiti 2 years ago. And for a fundraising project, she actually wrote a book on Indian folktale that has now sold over 100 copies. So this year, under the guidance of our art teachers at one of the creative art competitions, Lower Marion High School swept the entire competition from first place to all the honorable mentions. So how about to highlight some service and building character and citizenship? One of our first service projects this year was called Toiletries for Teens, and it was sponsored by Lower Marion High School's Becton Scholars Program. The school-wide toiletry drive was able to bring in 30 boxes of donations delivered to the Covenant House in Germantown, an outreach organization for homeless youth. Whereas we also got to go down there, our students got to meet some of the people in charge of the program, and we actually set up an organization and a thing for next year to help them out. I don't know if some of you were there or not, but the LM Best Buddies Club had their very first Best Buddies fashion show at Neiman Marcus. Best Buddies is a nonprofit organization that creates friendships for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in our school. Our club has actually quadrupled in size over the past 4 years and is striving to make a difference. Neiman Marcus is our first corporate sponsor, and if you were there, that was an amazing event. Our very own Dr. Marseille was the MC for the night and did an excellent job. We also participated in Adopt a Family and Child program through City Team Ministries. We made such a success that we made 55 children very happy in the month of December. We have a few student-run programs providing tutoring services after school to elementary schools in Philadelphia. Our Becton Scholars has begun a tutoring program with Huey Elementary, and we have another large group of students under the teacher Diane Sweeney that goes every Monday to tutor at Heston Elementary School. Again, was just approved after completing the requirements for its 5th consecutive year, a No Place for Hate school. And if you had a chance to watch the YouTube video, our student council leaders planned and executed a lip dub music video to Firework by Katy Perry, created with the intentions of raising awareness and money for cancer through our Coaches vs. Cancer organization. We have already raised over $5,000 just from that video alone. And Lower Merion recently, our students ran a Speak Up program based on Continue the Conversation about positive decision making, where Marty Gillen, Speak Up's founder, was the opening speaker, and the students set up to have followed up 50-minute breakout sessions on the topics of positive decision making between parents, students, teachers, facilitators. When speaking of traditions standing above the rest in athletics activities and school spirit, our very own theater group, Players, had a great year with performances, but I did want to highlight one particular event. Players had a special invitation this year extended by the Mainline Chamber of Commerce and its president, Mr. Bernie Dagnes, to perform selections from The Mystery of Edwin Drood at the Chamber's red carpet dinner. They were asked to perform 2 selections from the musical as part of the entertainment that evening to the 500-plus crowd, which included Pennsylvania Governor Tom Corbett. Our school spirit was always high with our continuing support of Maroon Madness held back in December. An amazing event, and again, raising money for Coaches vs. Cancer. LM Boys Basketball, again, won the Central League Championship, though I should make this note that in the past 4 years, this team has won a state title, has had 2 state championship appearances, a Central League record of 63-5, a 50-2 mark, and 3 straight titles from 2012 to 14. They've had 12 state playoff victories, a 30-7 postseason record, 101 total victories, the most ever in a 4-year stretch. They have 5 Division I scholarships and 9 total college basketball players at all levels, and have had a top 25 national ranking, PA top 10 for the last 3 consecutive years, which is very impressive. Our first jazz festival this year were 9 competing bands from local high schools. Out of those, LM was one of 2 bands that received the highest rating of Superior. LM was also awarded the Best Section Awards, Best Saxes, Best Rhythm, and Best Trombones, and Best Trumpets. Our Lower Merion TSA team, which you just recognized tonight, and one of the parts that was not recognized that I wanted to mention, where there were thousands of students in attendance at the state conference, and there are 8 students on the state officer team that control all the proceeding and run this organization for the state. Out of the entire state, 5 of the 8 members are Lower Merion School District students. Congratulations went to the boys soccer team and Coach Severini for their 2013 state championship. And again, as you recognized here tonight, the girls ultimate frisbee for their awards. So again, these are only a few highlights, and I want to thank you for allowing me to share these with you. We're very proud of the students, the faculty, and the staff at Lower Merion. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Hughes. We really appreciate hearing about all the wonderful things that are going on. So before we continue, we have something to do that's not on the agenda, so give me 1 second here. Is this on? Of course, I'm not. Can you hear me? I'm not used to being up here. I don't usually come here, but tonight I wanted to stand while I was speaking. And the board, as many of you know, this is Dr. McGinley's last board meeting before he retires from our district at the end of this month. So we still have him for a few weeks, but this is the last official meeting, so we thought this is where we get to talk a little bit about him here. and celebrate what he's done for the district in his tenure. So this is on behalf of the entire board. We worked on this together. We'd all like to really express our gratitude to you for your outstanding leadership as superintendent over the last 6 years, as well as acknowledge your service to public education over the last 30 years. In fact, throughout your career, you have always put students first. Dr. McGinley has achieved much during his tenure and leaves an important legacy, which we intend to build upon. Under Dr. McGinley's leadership, Lower Merion developed a comprehensive and focused strategic plan goal to close the achievement gap and greatly expanded the collection and use of data to analyze and improve student achievement outcomes, and we will continue to work towards that goal. Inspired by his early work in the classroom, Dr. McGinley has been a strong advocate for inclusive practices in special education, and he has in fact written and lectured frequently on this topic. He has also pioneered efforts to develop safe, welcoming school environments for all students and their families. And in 2009, Lower Merion became one of the nation's first school systems to mandate training on cultural proficiency and sociocultural identity. And today, we are proud that teachers in the district's cultural proficiency cadre lead staff development programs for colleagues that explore how race, religion, and sexual orientation impact socialization, development, and learning. Other key initiatives during Dr. McGinley's tenure in Lower Merion have included the expansion of programs designed to support student mental health and well-being, the alignment of elementary reading and math programs across all schools, the restructuring of the district administration, and the programmatic alignment of the district's 2 middle schools and high schools. He has also put in place some really great leaders at the school and central office levels who will continue to be working with us. Dr. McGinley is going to continue this work by serving on the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission and as well helping to train the next generation of principals and superintendents at Temple University. So we wish him much success in this new endeavor and are grateful for his service to the Lower Merion School District. And so as a symbol of our gratitude, we want to present you with this plaque. And I'm going to read what the plaque says. Let me see. I hope I don't. It's actually quite heavy. So this is the plaque, and I'm just going to read it first, and then you can take a look at it here. Okay, so the plaque says, with sincere gratitude, the Lower Merion Board of School Directors recognizes Dr. Christopher McGinley for his outstanding dedication, care, and commitment as superintendent of the Lower Merion School District, 2008 to 2014, and his devotion to the many students, staff, and communities he has served over the past 34 years. So we hope this sits in your new office.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate it. So please,
Thank you,
let's
everybody.
give him a round of applause. I'm going to take it back over with me. Do you want to say a few words? Okay.
Thank you. I did make a couple notes. I'll be very brief. Just imagine the good fortune that I've experienced in my life. I had told the board a few weeks ago, I'm not the first person in my family to work on the main line. My grandmother was a cleaning lady here on the main line, and she also was a nanny. She referred to herself as a living-in girl. That was the expression for Irish immigrants of that time. So living in meant you lived in the big house and took care of the kids. And so I never imagined when I started my education, when I started teaching 34 years ago in Philadelphia, that I would end up working in a place like this, never in my wildest dreams. So I spent many years as a special education teacher. I was an elementary and middle school principal in Philadelphia. I was a regional superintendent in Philadelphia. I was assistant superintendent and superintendent in Cheltenham. I worked at Delaware County Intermediate Unit for a couple of years and realized I really would prefer to be in a school district. And then I've had the wonderful opportunity to be here for the past 6 years. At this time in my life, I'm able to move on to do work that matches my passion with my skill set in the city that I love, at the university where I decided to become an educator and learned how to teach. And that's a tremendous opportunity for me. So tonight, I leave with gratitude for the opportunity to have served here, to build on past successes, to expand programs, interdisciplinary programs, AP, IB, at a time when other districts were cutting programs severely. We didn't do that. I'm also proud to have given voice to issues and people who might have otherwise been ignored, and to build a strong and committed team of passionate school leaders and school district leaders, and to have helped the district work through some really dark days with the full support of the board and the support of the community. I want to thank this board and previous boards for the opportunity to work here for and with you. Here I have seen what education can and should be for every child, regardless of zip code. Here I have seen people of passion in schools and classrooms make miracles happen as they nurture and grow the children that are entrusted to their care. And for all of this, I'm most grateful, and I wish Dr. Marseille, the school district leaders, teachers, students, and of course members of the school Board of School Directors great success in the future. Thank you.
We're now on to the more mundane parts of the meeting.
Is it, can I say two words?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I promise it's a couple more than two words, but I won't be long. I wanted to say that to echo the sentiments that Dr. Gilbert eloquently stated around Dr. McGinley's passion for this work. And on behalf of members of Cabinet and the administrators in the district, we want to echo those sentiments and thank you for your dedication and your passion. You mentioned about voices, you mentioned conversation around exclusive practice, and I have to say that there are very few educational leaders who have championed these three words: equity, access, and opportunity. And we want to thank you for giving the district a common language around how to engage in those conversations and to continue those conversations. So we are very mindful of what you leave behind, and we have great people here who will continue that legacy. So thank you very much for all your hard work.
Thank you, Dr. Marseille. That was very, very eloquent. So at this time, we're going to have audience recognition on agenda items only. So if you would like to speak to an issue that's not on the agenda, we ask till you wait till the end of the meeting. There will be an opportunity to speak at that time. So is there anyone who would like to speak now to an agenda item only? Can you come in and sign in, and then please say your name and where you live, and you have 3 minutes. This is only for agenda items only, so there'll be an opportunity to speak again on non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. Please come and speak at the microphone.
My name is Michelle Pananopoulos. I live in Narberth, and I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'll try to be very brief. I only learned about this meeting a couple of hours ago, so I'm not terribly prepared. I'll try to be brief. I wanted to speak to agenda item number 7, the Human Resources Approval, specifically Exhibit HR3, which is about summer appointments. Okay. I have a son who's in 2nd grade at Marion Elementary School. He's a special education student. He has some mild physical disabilities, and he's on the autistic spectrum. He has significant...
Excuse me, we just want to make sure you realize this meeting is being recorded. It will be preserved as a podcast.
I do.
So we just want to make sure you're mindful of any confidential information you stay at the microphone, because it won't stay confidential.
I do understand that. Thank you
you.
very much for letting me know. He's on the autistic spectrum, and he has significant behavioral needs. and we love Marion, and although there's been quite a bit of turnover in special education this year, everyone has been very accommodating, and we've really tried to I think they've really worked well with Oscar. Oscar has a one-on-one aide in the classroom and with him throughout the day, without which he really wouldn't be able to be in a typical classroom. And his aide is responsible for implementation of his behavioral program. In the spring, his aide mentioned that if Oscar were to be in ESY this summer, she would be interested in continuing to work with him, to support him, which I thought was phenomenal. I'm sorry.
Ma'am, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. We don't talk about specific personnel appointments in public. That's something that the board discusses either in executive session. So if you have a concern about an individual person who hasn't been hired or isn't being hired, that's something that you need to communicate to the administration. That's not something.
I have communicated this to the administration, and the only reason I'm here is because we're about to approve a list of summer appointments in June, and I've been told repeatedly over the last 6 weeks, I'm sorry, it's too late. All of the appointments have been made. And I know that appointments continue to be made because needs are ongoing. We're
Well,
about to approve.
And I understand you have a meeting set to discuss this topic with our Director of Human Resources and with our
We had a-
Administrator for Special Ed.
I did in fact request a meeting.
Right.
There was
So
a
that
meeting
meeting
set
has
for
not yet
last
taken
week.
place?
I'm sorry?
That has not yet taken place?
The meeting was set for last week, Thursday at 12:30, and then it was canceled 2 hours before, not by me, by Special
Okay.
Services.
So
and when
that-
I
But there is
saw-
a meeting set for this week, right?
Hopefully it's going to go on Wednesday. When I saw that we are on the cusp of approving more autistic support elementary ESY aides, and this might be the last batch, I became concerned. In fact, I sent an email to Student Special Services and said, look, I'd like to talk to you at the meeting or some other time, and if not, I'd like to speak up during the public comment period.
Okay, but we do
Because
want to
we are
make sure,
about to
I just
approve-
want to make sure, correct, the superintendent and acting superintendent will have authorization to make hires after tonight if appropriate. So this, this public conversation about a particular person is premature. If you haven't had the opportunity to fully address this with the administration, this meeting is not the last chance for opportunity for summer hire. So I need to reiterate, your comments are premature, and they quite honestly shouldn't really be in public.
Well, okay. I'm only talking about my son in public. I'm not mentioning the name of any personnel, okay? I'm only talking about my son, and I'm not uncomfortable with people knowing my son is on the autistic spectrum. It's fairly obvious when you meet him that he has special needs.
I appreciate that, but there's
So-
nothing this board can do about the situation you're describing until it's gone through the administration, and which it hasn't had the chance to do yet.
Okay, well, this board is going to be approving summer appointments, and I would like to make a record of the fact that although I have been trying since April 23rd to talk reasonably about our mutual interest in having continuity of support for a child who is behaviorally very challenging in a summer program that lasts only 5 weeks in a new physical environment, new teachers, new peers, new schedule, new expectations, minimally to have someone who's already on staff and has expressed an interest continue with him. I think there are issues of credibility and policy where the administration repeatedly rebuffs those attempts to simply raise this issue and discuss it, pushes the ball, kicks the can down the road until it's almost too late to do anything about it. I wanted to speak out and say, you're here to approve these summer appointments, and I'm sure you will. It also strikes me that it's possible that you could put a note on it and say this is something to be revisited. There may be additional issues. I don't know. I understood that the public was allowed, even encouraged, to take 3 minutes to simply speak to an issue. Okay, my son cannot speak for himself. Okay, I'm here to speak for him.
Okay, we appreciate it. We were concerned that you were going to mention the name of the employee, and you didn't, so we appreciate
I
that.
certainly would not do that.
We appreciate that.
Okay.
So we've heard that you have a concern, and we hope that the administration will be able to address it, and there will be time at future meetings to do hires as well.
There
So
will be
we-
more time to do hires.
yes, so
Okay,
we-
I appreciate that. Ms. Cohen.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we have heard you, and, we will follow up after the administration has discussed it with you.
Okay, what would be the right way to follow up? I'm sorry.
If you,
You have a meeting set this week with,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's the follow-up.
Okay. Thank
and
you.
then you can always email the board if you have continuing concerns.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I didn't see anybody else who wanted to speak to a non-agenda item. There'll be time for, I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. To an agenda item, we will take public comment on non-agenda items at the end of the meeting. Is there anyone else who wants to speak to an agenda item? Okay, then we're going to move on at this point. And I am going to move to, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the following meetings of the Board of School Directors. That would be the May 19th regular business board meeting, as well accepting the following committee meetings: June 4th, Policy Committee; June 5th, Facilities and Purchasing Committee. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Dr. McGinley.
Thank you, good evening, and we are fast approaching the end of the school year, and we have graduation for Harriton High School tomorrow night and Lower Merion the following night, and then we have our middle schools and elementary schools also scheduled, and so things are moving rapidly toward closure, things are in good order, and we were pleased to acknowledge our champions, and we've had an awful lot of end-of-year or closing year programs, ceremonies, concerts, events. It's been a very, very busy time, as it is each year, so we thank everyone for their attention to those tasks. I do have a formal statement that I want to read about the district's interest in the acquisition of properties on Bala Avenue. On Thursday, May 22nd, 2014, the district's real estate agent transmitted the district's offer to enter into letters of intent for properties located at 15 to 21 Bala Avenue. The purpose of the acquisition is for parking buses, not refueling buses, repairing or servicing buses. This was done in response to our real estate agent's determination that at least one of the properties was potentially available for acquisition. We would like to correct some of the misconceptions that have been circulating, that the district has told the sellers that it plans to condemn these properties. This is not true. Our only discussion with property owners have been through a sale process. The letters of intent presented to the property owners are the exact opposite of eminent domain. That is, we are hoping to negotiate a mutually agreeable real estate sale. The mere reference of eminent domain in the letter of intent is the very open and transparent language given to a property owner stating that the letter of intent is not a waiver of our existing rights to exercise eminent domain in its proper form. And school districts use this type of letter all the time when they are purchasing properties. We've used the exact same language in other cases. We would also like to correct the misconception that the district holds an option to purchase another property for bus parking. To the contrary, the district does not hold any options to purchase any other properties. There are no other properties under letter of intent, agreement, or otherwise. And with that, I'd like to move to the regular agenda. And the first item, I'm recommending that the Board of School Directors approve human resource action items as listed in HR 1 through HR 4.
Do you have any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion's passed.
Next is the report of the Curriculum Committee.
The curriculum committee met in May, but not in June, so there's no report.
And then Dr. Marseille, your action items.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approves the license and service agreement with Timbo Inc. for reporting services in the amount of $7,500, subject to final solicitor review per Exhibit CS-1.
Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you. Next is approving the student services agreements per Exhibit SS1 through SS15. We're recommending the approval of the agreements as listed for non-school district educational services.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Ben. Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Next, the administration recommends the Board of School Directors approve provisions of healthcare educational professional supports on an as-needed basis per exhibits SS 16.
Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Next, we're recommending that the Board of School Directors approve the agreement for training of staff in sensory structured language skills per exhibit SS 17.
Are there any questions? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you. The administration recommends that the Board of School Directors approve the Leader Service Software Subscription Agreement for a one-year subscription to IEPwriter.com and Children Count in a not-to-exceed amount of $26,093 per Exhibit SS 18.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Next is a report of the Facilities Purchasing Committee. Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Dr. McGinley. The Facilities and Purchasing Committee met on June 5th, 2014 at 8:30 a.m. in this room. We reviewed the list of bills. We reviewed a purchasing report. We reviewed a quote for Presidio Network Solutions for installation of Source Fire program. This is a firewall to protect the district's computer network. We reviewed facilities leasing agreements with Hines Rowing Center for next year. We reviewed a leasing agreement with the Lower Merion Aquatic Club for next year. We reviewed the agreement with Wilson Metz for student transportation for this year and for next year. We reviewed master agreement for professional services from Glack and Thomas Panzak relating to landscaping at Penn Valley Elementary. We reviewed the master agreement for consulting services with ELA Sport relating to the running track at Harriton High School. We reviewed change orders for Penn Valley Elementary School and Lower Merion High School. There was an update on elementary and middle school enrollment expansion projects. We were given the 5-year facilities improvement plan update, and we discussed athletic field lighting. We discussed that the option to add lighting at Arnold Field has been reviewed in detail, and that this option is not going to be pursued at this time. Rather, sharing the field at Harriton is the option that is recommended at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Orlando.
Okay, we have a number of items on the agenda. I'm going to take items B through I, unless a board member would like me to separate any of those items. Hearing none. We're going to, first item is to recommend an action item is to approve the list of bills for payment, approve the financial report dated May 2014, accept a donation of $585.12 from the Lower Merion High School class of 1964 to the Lower Merion High School Library.
Can I just interrupt? Is that a cash donation, or is that for something in particular?
It was a check for them to use for whatever purpose they saw fit. But it is supposed to be used for strictly just for the library. Okay. Approve Denise LePere to continue as Secretary of the Board for the 2014-15 school year. Set the bond for the Secretary of the Board in accordance with Section 431 of the School Code. Appoint Victor Orlando as the Assistant Secretary of the Board. Elect Christopher Sophia as the Treasurer of the Board, and to set the bond for the Treasurer of the Board in accordance with Section 436 of the School Code.
On behalf of the entire board, I'd like to thank the Lower Merion High School class of 1964 for their generous gift to the Lower Merion High School Library. And are there any questions?
Just a quick shout out, since we're about to approve Denise's renewal, that we appreciate her service, and Dr. McGinley never would have gotten his plaque if it wasn't for her help.
So, are there any other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion's passed.
Okay, we're going to take the next items J through N. The recommended action item is to approve the list of depositories that are listed in the motion in accordance with the board investment policy, approve the 2013-14 budget transfers, approve the additional funds to be committed fund balance, and approve the capital reserve fund transfer. And the final one is to adopt the 2014 homestead farmstead exclusion resolution.
Are there any questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion's passed.
The next item deals with the 2014-15 budget. The administration recommends the Board of School Directors adopts the 2014-15 budget in the amount of $234,520,559 for the fiscal year beginning in July 1st, 2014, which sets the tax rate of 25.3335 mils by adopting the budget resolution. And further, the board adopts the real estate tax resolution, and further the following resolution items 1 through 11 in the motion.
Are there any questions or comments? This is, comes at the end of a very long process. When did we start this process, Mr. Orlando?
We started last fall.
Okay, so it has, it's not just my memory. So we appreciate the administration's work in helping us to come up with a budget that preserves the programs that we think are very important and preserves class size, and at the same time tries to be understanding of the burdens that tax increases place on people in our community. So we appreciate that. I think we need a roll call, or we are, okay, that would be good. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And now please the roll call.
Ms. Devon Ventura?
Yes.
Dr. Golden?
Yes.
Ms. Ackman?
Yes.
Dr. O'Leary?
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Dr. Van Lynch?
Yes.
Ms. Pollard?
Yes.
Dr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Unanimous, the motion passes.
Thank you.
And then the two remaining items is the administration recommends to maintain the 2013-14 nutritional service prices for the 14-15 school year, and also to declare equipment as surplus property per the attachment.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion's passed.
Then under the facilities and operations, Mrs. Robinson went through all those items, so I'm going to take them in one motion. That is items A through H. The first item deals with the administration recommends that the board awards the bid to the contractor, name the attachment as the lowest responsible bid in accordance with the bid documents. The first item is to replace the auditorium projector at Gladwin Elementary, the digital security cameras at Belmont Hills, Gladwin, and Marion Elementary Schools, the purchase of the Landscopes Stealth Watch deployment device or software, whatever it is, for the technology department, and also the source fire, which also is part of the technology department. In addition to that, we do recommend the rejection of the bids from the parking lot improvements of Lot A at Belmont Hills. That work will be deferred to another year. The next item is to approve the contract for transportation services with Wilson Metz through the June 30, 2014 year. Approve the master agreement for professional services with Glackton Thomas Panchek, Inc. That amount is not to exceed $3,675 plus $300 for expenses. Approve the master agreement for professional service with ELA Sport, an additional work order for a fee not to exceed $9,300. Approve the quote from Presidio Networked Solutions for installation of the source fire. That is not to exceed an amount of $15,294.12. Approve the facilities lease with Heinz Rowing, an amount of $26,475. Approve the facilities lease agreement with the Lower Marion Aquatics Club in the amount of $30,000. And approve the change orders for additions and alterations at the Penn Valley Elementary School for the electrical contractor and also the construction contractor, and also a change order for the restoration of the Arnold Field gate.
Okay, and these were all reviewed in detail recently at the facilities meeting, but are there any questions or comments? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion's pass. Okay, thank you. We're now moving on to the business of the Board of Directors, and I'm going to turn to Ms. Pollard for a report of the Policy Committee meeting.
The Policy Committee met on June the 4th of last week in this room, and for review policies that are being considered for the first or second reading at the next business meeting, policies up for second reading. The following policies are up for adoption tonight. Policy number 114, individualized student supports and services. Policy number 116, assignment of exceptional pupils to special programs for repeal. And policy number 237, section 504, compliance for repeal. These policies have been combined into one policy, number 114, entitled Individualized Student Programs and Services. This combined policy intends to safeguard the rights of our students to access and receive an appropriately individualized education in compliance with federal and state law requirements, and to make sure the parents and guardians of our students are fully informed as to their child's rights to individualized student programs and services in the areas of special education and gifted education. The regulations governing these program areas are also being updated. Policies for first reading. The following policies are up for first reading tonight for adoption at the July 21st board meeting. Policy number 117, homebound instruction, and policy number 121, field trips. Policy 117 has been updated to reflect current practice and law. This policy governs the provision of services to students confined to home or hospitalized for physical disability, illnesses, or injury, or when such confinement is recommended for psychological or psychiatric reasons. Policy number 121 has been updated to reflect current practices. This policy governs field trips and class trip. A field trip shall mean a group excursion for a first-hand observation related to some topic or issue which students are studying and which is included in a curriculum. A class trip is a group trip supervised by certified school employees scheduled as a culminating activity at the discretion of the principal. The regulations implementing these policies are also being updated. Regulation number 258, individual and group assessment tools, implements recently adopted policy Regulation number 258, individual and group assessment tools, implements recently adopted policy number 258. Policy 258 is a new policy assigned to assure our students' privacy with respect to web-based tools used by the district to track individual and group student performance. The district uses products and consulting services to collect and organize data on the achievement of its students so that the district can use the data to enhance the educational program of our students. This regulation establishes criteria for the selection, acquisition, and systematic reevaluation of these products and consulting services. This regulation is also intended to address and release the personally identifiable information pursuant to the exceptions under the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act to third parties who will collect and organize student data for the district's use in tracking individual and group student performances. Our next meeting will be in September. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Pollard. So we need to vote on the second reads for policy 114, as well as the repeal of policy 116 and 237. So are there any questions at this point? Do I have a motion to approve? So moved. So moved. Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Are there any other committee reports at this time that we're missing here? Do you want to do the administration?
The approval of meeting dates? Yes, the administration recommends the Board of School Director meeting dates for the September of 2014 to December of 2014, as listed.
Okay, so it was the last policy committee meeting, but we're already planning the ones in the fall. Are there any questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve? Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Okay, let me see here. All right, at this time, unless there's something else, do you have anything else? Okay, at this time, we're going to have a public comment on non-agenda items, so on any item. So please, if you're planning to speak, come in, sign up with Ms. LaPera, and then you will please introduce yourself and where you live, and then you'll have 3 minutes. So please come sign in first so that we know who's speaking. Thank you.
Denise says I can start, so.
You can. Welcome.
Okay, welcome. My name is Amara Briggs, and I'm the president of the Neighborhood Club of Bala Cynwyd. And first, I wanted to briefly thank and give a fond farewell to Dr. McGinley, who did not know him very well, but I always thought he was very warm and kind, and always gave a helping hand and a warm ear, and always gave honest community feedback. So I really wish you luck, Dr. McGinley.
You can have 3.5 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Look at that, how that bought me.
Thank you very much.
So what brings me here tonight to stand before you is, Madam President, the Board of Directors, is that we, and you mentioned it earlier tonight, and as we in Bala Cynwyd have learned from you, Dr. Gilbert, and some others, that the district has issued some letters of intent to purchase properties on Bala Avenue. We understand and heard tonight that these properties are 15 Bala Avenue and 1921 Bala Avenue. We look forward to a presentation tomorrow night at our regular board meeting from Vic Orlando and Doug Young to give us a background of why the bus parking lot is needed, your process for reviewing the properties, your timeline, and cost expectations. I know you are interested in feedback from our community. Our community is craving facts from you in an honest discussion with our feedback. I know that tomorrow night you can't attend. Harrison's having its graduation, and that's really important that you attend that tomorrow. I would only invite you to make sure that you attend our meetings in the future so that we have an open and transparent process and hear feedback from the community. But I'm here tonight to really be very clear and honest about what our position is as a board. We are unequivocally opposed to any plan to purchase or develop any type of bus parking lot on Bala Avenue. The proposed use of the bus terminal is completely antithetical to our vision of Bala Avenue, known as by our residents as Bala Village. We are really proud of our village's character as a mixed-use area with small retailers and small commercial office buildings and many residents. Over the years, this club and our partners in the township and City Avenue Special Services District have worked hard to encourage small retail development and pedestrian reuse. Recently, we've worked successfully with the BMW of the Main Line for development of retail properties for their existing sites, building a new pocket park, and to enhance green space of the area. Moreover, traffic is extremely tight in this dense area and the traffic from City Avenue. Every traffic study done in the area over the years has rated the stoplight on Bala and City a D or worse, and this terminal would only make life worse there for the residents of this community. Tonight, I am asking you, the Board of Directors, to go back and review alternative sites that you've already considered as part of your process. There are many sites for sale housed in commercial and industrial spaces with access to our community. You must reconsider those alternatives today. While I know you believe it's your fiduciary responsibility to lead on this course for a parking lot, it is my responsibility to let you know that the purchase and conversion of these properties to a parking lot will set Bala Village back decades in terms of development. The Neighborhood Club has heard consistent and unanimous consent from the community on this issue, and we will do everything we can to stop this purchase. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next person, please.
Thank you for this chance to address the board before your meeting. My name is Barry Polis. I am a real estate broker in the Bala Cynwyd community for over 30 years, been independent office, and I reside on Bala Avenue. I know it's your intention to do no harm or as little harm as possible, but you may not be as familiar with our neighborhood being on this board. There are 20 homes that are immediate within 100 yards of this proposed site of 1315 and 1921 Bala Avenue, which you are prepared to purchase. There are 8 townhouses which are directly across the street. There are 8 single historic Tudor twins that are on Baldwin Place that are directly across the street. There are 50 homes within a 1-block radius of this area. In addition to that, on the other end of Bala Avenue, above Union Avenue, there are at least 25 businesses and restaurants. We've just put a new lighting system in on the street to help with the revival, with the Bala Cynwyd redevelopment and the City Avenue zone, as well as the Rails for Trails are recent improvements. Now, aside from the residential infraction that is made by this being there, we have over 75,000 square feet of Class A office buildings in that area. 1 Bala, 40,000 square feet, 7 Bala, 15,000 square feet, 11 Bala, 12,000 square feet, and 25 Bala, 2,000 square feet, which are all newly renovated properties. Taking into consideration, I'm not even counting 29 Bala, which is another 12,000 square feet. Taking into consideration the parking ratio for office space of 4 employees per 1,000, we're talking about approximately 300 employees in that area, and guesstimating 40 businesses that will be infracted upon. In my experience in the real estate business, I don't see doctors, CPAs, attorneys looking to locate their office buildings adjacent to bus depots. I see it as a major loss. In purchasing this property, we immediately lose $48,000 worth of real estate taxes from these properties since you do not pay taxes. We have the Bala train station there. There's a huge development initiative for transit-based real estate, which is really just starting to revive on Bala Avenue. We have a narrow street with off-street parking, Many of the residences on the street require the off-street parking. I believe that a bus terminal should really not even go into a C2 zoning, should go into an industrial zoning, which is an M zoning in Lower Merion. In conclusion, I'd just like to say that I think that the harm potential far exceeds the benefit that this does for Lower Merion School District, and I think you should strongly reconsider your intentions of purchasing this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Paulus.
Ruth Jenkin, Winwood. I just want to wish Dr. McGinley a fond farewell, and certainly all the best in your new position. I know that we've often had some disagreements, but it's been a good thing. We both have the same ultimate goal, which is the fair and appropriate treatment of our children. And I'll still be here after you're gone.
But I know where you live, Worcester Road. Right.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Jenkins. That was great. To finish up, in accordance with Act 93 of 1998, the Sunshine Law, the Board of School Directors met in executive session earlier this evening around personnel and real estate issues. With that, we are adjourned.
Thank you very much for the plaque, and you're in good hands, Lower Merion Township and Narberth, with these people at the helm and those people at the helm. So all my best to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.